you couldn't actually see the swimming. So yeah, it was a great experience. What did you remember? Did you see much of it? What did you like the look of?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Okay. I think it's very different. The Commonwealth Games are similar. You guys can go to when you go to the Commonwealth. Have you been to Commonwealth Games here? No. No. You have. Fantastic. In Glasgow, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. It's you know what the village is like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's very similar in lots of ways. Although there's probably more countries go to the Olympics, but the Commonwealth Games is a great experience. It was I had my first big games as a Commonwealth. Because the other exciting thing is it's like this, you get other sports people, so you get to meet, you realise it, and I think that's one of the benefits of the sports aid group is that if you do start talking to each other and get the chance to interact, is you start to realise also that other sports people at this level are like you, but you just do different sports. But you're all committed, you want to work hard, you want to get to these things. And I really enjoyed actually meeting like cyclists and hockey team with some of the people that we hung out with. So that's quite nice. But because when you go to your individual sports, like world or European, it's just your sport. So you don't see people walking around. Like golfers walking around the village. Justin Rose was in the village this time. Is he playing tomorrow? Today? Ryder Cup? Yeah, it's a great experience. I'd recommend it to you. It's quite interesting actually, because when I first, one of my swimming heroes, a guy called David Wilkie, I was 12, and I watched David Wilkie win the Olympics. I remember meeting him. I went on a David Wilkie swimming camp when I was 12, in Liverpool actually. So there was a weekend about a month after he won the Olympics, and I went there, there was 50 kids. It was like this, and he sat and started talking. We did some training with him, and somebody did some gym work and stuff like that. I remember him sitting in the room, and he showed his Olympic final where he won the Olympics. And he asked us, and I was in the group and I was 12, and he said to us, who wants to do that? Who here wants to win the Olympics? I'm going, and I was the only one that put my hand up. It's really weird. Really odd. But what I liked was meeting him. I liked seeing somebody who'd done it. And realising, and I go back to my first point, is that I was 12, and he was 12 once, and he was 10 once, and he couldn't swim once. And he lost lots of races once. And he was really scared before a race once. He told us. So was I. So all the things you experience, all the guys that achieve those things have all done the same thing. They just got through it. But I had to learn to swim. Good. Anything else? How are we doing?
How useful are all the things that you've learned in your sport early on? How useful are those when you transfer them into your business life or your future careers?
I think some lessons I learned from sport are the most useful things I've ever learned, actually. Because my education didn't go as well as my parents would have hoped it would have gone. Because I actually wasn't very present during my A-levels, so I didn't actually pass many A-levels. It's not a reason not to get them. But, no, I mean, learning about, I think you learn, timekeeping, man, timeliness is the one lesson you're always going to learn as a sports person. Is I'm on time for everything. Because I remember not being on time for one of my races, and I missed it. It's like, okay, I'm not going to be late again. I was once late for training. Terry was a bugger actually. Terry used to lock the door. So we'd go to training and the session would start at 6 a.m. in the morning and I lived 45 minutes away. And he opened the door at 5:40 and he closed it at 5:50 a.m. So the door was only open between 5:40 and 5:50. And I once got there at 5:51. And my dad had driven me there. I'm 15, I got up a bit late. Got to screech the car, ran out of the car, got to the door, and I could see him, he just locked it and he was walking away again. I was banging on the door. And he didn't even turn around, he shook his head and carried on walking. And I had to go back to the car and said to Dad, sorry, I missed it. I had to drive back home again. 45 minutes. So I learned about timekeeping and missed my race, missed my training. My dad wasn't happy. So I learned how to stay on time. And I tell you what, in life, that's a bloody good, it's a very good, it's a very good skill to have. People don't, if you're on time and stuff, that's a good thing to do. If you don't miss out. Hard work. Lots of people don't kind of work out how to work hard and apply themselves. There's some of the stuff I've talked about. When you get the hang of goal setting, true goal setting, I mean, I use that in my business. My business has a series of winning goals, a series of measures, and a series of different buckets. So I can plan a 4-year strategy in business. I think understanding respect for coach, respect for each other, knowing how to fit into a team. Yeah, it took me a while actually to work that one out, the sort of social dynamic of being a team player. Because it's interesting, because when you actually, I wonder if you're going to face this, where you have to join other squads. You've got a home squad, so when I was at City Leeds, that was fine, because it was my mates. But then when you went to the British team, or to another squad, there's people I didn't know. So I had to work out how I could be team fit. I had this little phrase in my head. You can't just expect a team to fold around you. Some of the good teams do. Some of the good teams will know when new people are coming into it, will encourage them, envelop them, and make them feel welcome. But sometimes there's also something you've got to do as well. And so I used to think about, okay, I'm this individual swimmer, but how can I be team fit? How can I fit into a new squad, a regional squad or a national squad? And you know what? I was quite shy, but I used to have to put myself out a bit and introduce myself to somebody. Hi, I'm Adrian. I'm from Bradford. Where are you from? So I think there's something about recognising those sort of social skills of being in a group of people that I learnt through sport. Handling pressure. I mean, I took my company through a recession, and all the things I learned from swimming were relevant. And the main thing about pressure I learned is that however much you think it matters, it doesn't really. Because I think we build too much into it. So when I lost my first Olympics, it sort of dawned on me then actually that I put too much pressure on myself, because the question is, what is failing actually? So I thought to myself, in the end, I realised I'd only lost a swimming race. People lose their lives. And I just read a news article this morning. Yes, I just lost a swimming race, so what? So perspective is quite a useful thing. Because you put yourself under so much pressure, and it's like, you really want to do well for yourself because you've worked hard for your coach, your parents, but ultimately, it is only a sport event. And you get over it. The sun still shines the day after. Your friends will still be your friends. Parents will still be your parents. So perspective is what I learned from sport. So I'm starting a business. I thought, well, what's the worst that can happen? If you go pear-shaped, you do something else. I know you're going to work on anxiety management stuff. So I think there's different. When I talk about pressure, you probably need to talk this before on this, but there is something about perspective and how you appraise a situation. There's something about taking control, and I've talked about that. How you control what you can. So you take all the controllables. You take all the accidents out, almost like you engineer in the things you can take control, so make sure those happen. You then appraise it that it's an opportunity rather than a threat. But then you need to know how to manage yourself. Breathing techniques, basic meditation, sort of calming things for when you're in the moment. So they're different. Because even before the Olympics you get some form of anxiety. And the best phrase I ever heard, and I was so chuffed, but my daughter repeated it back to me the other day, is that everyone gets butterflies in their stomach. The goal is to get them to fly in the same formation. And she said, we scheduled 11 plus the other day. I said, I was 11 plus. She said, I was thinking about that butterfly thing. I was getting a bit nervous beforehand, but I got them to fly in the same formation. It was fine. Good. Anything else? You've got to get a skill. You're desperate to get a skill, I can tell. Really important to get a skill. You're all dressed for it anyway, most of you. Anything you're desperate to?
I've got a sorry, I know there are other sports here, but I think it links in. You said, look, I'm actually quite keen to know how Terry justified the 10-2 or just fly to a breaststroker. And not just that, but in terms of, I've got breaststrokers here that are looking at me going, some of the looks I got this morning when I told them the main set, and they said, do you know what guys, I'm doing this because I love you. If looks could kill,
they would kill you, right.
What the question really is about doing things that you would not necessarily think is your bit.
Yep.
Why am I doing? And that is a question that will come up to every sports person.
Yeah, why is the coach asking me to do that?
Why am I doing this?
Yes.
This isn't my thing. Why is he asking me to run? I don't,
Yes.
rubbish at running. Or
Yes.
why am I doing fly when I'm a
Yes.
breaststroke?
Yes.
How does he justify it?
It's going to come back at you, this. He explained it to me. he ran sessions that weren't in the pool, and he would say, look, but he challenged us as swimmers. He said, look, are you really interested? Because I will spend time telling you, but if you sit there bored and tell me you're not interested, then I'm not going to do it. But I'm going to show you some of the basic physiology. And we were 14, 15, so we were starting to get interested. And so he took a bit of time to say, look, here's aerobic, here's anaerobic, here's some of the stuff I'm doing with you, here's the cycle I'm taking you through. And then he'd give us some stuff to read. And then he'd say, come back to another session if you want to do it any further. So then I trusted him. So when he said something like that, I didn't need to know, because I thought, oh yeah, I roughly knew from what we talked about before, but then because he involved me and us, we trusted him. And that's the question that comes back is, where does that come from often in the coach-athlete relationship? Why do you trust the coach to take you through some stuff? And the coach builds that, either through credibility, through reliability, i.e. they do what they say they're going to do, and they follow through on it. So I think there's a point when the coach-athlete relationship enters a different phase. And so when he, in the future, he would say, but you actually give it the second line, okay, we're going to do 5 400 medley. And it fits into this. Or even before the session, you say, right, this session is going to be aimed at this energy system. You're going to be working this, and set number 1, 2 will be doing that. Set 4 is going to do this, and set 5 is just because I feel like it and I'm tired, sort of thing. As a joke, you throw a joke in. And then we trust him. You have to trust your coaches and work it out. If you don't. Anything else? So you're desperate to ask.
Where did you get your medal?
Where do I get my medal?
Yeah. Is it in a private place somewhere? Or is it a drawer?
It's in the cereal, back of the cereal cabinet. Cereal box. I've got a cupboard with cereal in it, it's at the back of that. Don't go and nick it now. No, it's not even in my house, because I'm not in that house. I'm divorced. So it's not even I don't actually have it, it's with the kids. Because they take it to school every now and again. But it's not the medal that matters, actually. Because you never do it for the thing. You do it. It's the whole experience. It's a journey that matters. If I don't think back, people remind me of that moment, but actually, I think about all the different experiences I had. So I don't. Yeah, it's more about how I feel about myself. And it really says blocks, actually. So that's what you carry through. You don't carry through the thing. It was nice to get it. It was a fantastic experience. When you asked me what it's like to go to the Olympics, it's also a really good experience to stand on the block and somebody put a medal out, gold medal on your neck, and hear your national anthem. That's pretty exciting. But then, I'm 28 years after that event. I'm more excited about, what was I excited about the other day? What I got. I got a certificate, I think, for something I'd done at work. It's quite exciting. It's quite nice. Cool. Right, is that it? Yeah? Oh, one at the back, yeah?
How did you and Adam contribute to the record?
That's a really good question. So, for those that have no idea, so Adam Peaty, 100 metre breaststroke gold medal for Great Britain. I was the last man to win a gold medal for Britain 28 years ago, so no other man's won a gold medal between me and him. So, first of all, it wasn't a record that I thought I had. It wasn't something that I tried to get. So when you break a British record at the time, you're striving for it. So I never won the gold medal and thought, I hope nobody else ever wins one again. So it wasn't actually a record I was thinking about. I didn't even know about it until somebody reminded me a couple of years ago, actually. Somebody said, oh, you realise Adam Peaty, at Commonwealth Games, if he gets a gold medal, he'll be the first person since you. I went, well, that's interesting. So I didn't actually have it as something that I was holding on to. Actually, I was really, really chuffed for him. It's brilliant because he could be my son. Do you know what I mean? It's like and also it doesn't take anything away from me. I still have my gold medal, so I'm still a gold medalist, and he's another one. So it's additive. There's another one. It's great. So I didn't feel like he'd taken anything off me. I felt like it was, I could welcome him into the gold medalist. And actually, I got to commentate on it. And it was quite moving, actually, because I started to get choked up a bit. It's not easy to commentate on TV when you get a bit. Yeah, so it's a really, really nice experience, and I felt good about it. Unbelievable time. Yeah. I couldn't have imagined that. Okay. Anything else? No?
Right,
So,
well,
go.
thank you, Adrian.
Right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Time for everyone to go back to school.
Yeah.
So, what I'd like you to do is thank Adrian in a great Isle of Man way. So thanks for giving us time this morning. We were all late to bed last night. We were at a dinner last night, very stoked as well. So I'd like to say thank you personally, and we'll all do so.
Cool. Good. Enjoy skill. Enjoy swimming. Enjoy running, rowing, rugby, hockey, trampolining. Whatever else you do. Cycling.
Nice day to go, guys.
That's right.
Top audience this morning.
You see the ads now.
You might get something back.
Well,